Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Panoramic Perspectives. Today, the conversation that you're about to hear is with Astha Madan. She is a professional golfer and a golf coach. She played on the European Tour. The reason we didn't do the introduction during the podcast is because, well, we realized that when a guest generally joins, conversation naturally flows, and we kind of break that flow to do the introduction and get into the podcast. And it also can somewhat make it seem like it's an interview rather than just a conversation, and we want to steer away from that. So we're just trying something new. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. I think it was a very interesting one. There you go.
Sweet.
Nice.
Rohan,
I love your hoodie.
thanks.
Oh my God, it's making me hungry because it's one of my favorite restaurants here.
Oh, is it?
But it's also a fire hoodie. I
What
like
kind
it.
of food do they have?
It's Mediterranean,
Oh, sick.
and it's like every New Yorker's go-to spot. If they don't go to Chipotle, they go to
Oh,
Kava.
yeah. Kava's good. I remember Kava.
Yeah, you've done your time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done enough Kava.
Yeah, enough. It was a refreshing change from Chipotle, but yeah, enough.
Literally.
Yeah.
I feel like you can live in America for a decade, just eat those two, and you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
you totally good. Probably
You need
you'd
nothing else.
probably be better off too.
Yeah. It's also
Yeah.
it's also very affordable.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like I'm okay eating there every meal and I will still not go broke. So
I
I'll
don't know
take
how you
that.
do Chipotle like that. I can't. I hate Chipotle.
Yeah, we used to
I
do
don't know
this
why.
like almost, I think Chipotle was minimum once a week staple, especially when we would
Easy.
travel for tournaments. So, yeah, I agree. It does not break
It
the
just
bank.
makes sense.
Although now everything's become expensive. So I don't know. I guess it's all relative.
I still pay $12 for a Chipotle bowl. Like if I don't get double chicken, I just pay 12
12's not
bucks
bad.
and it's a fat bowl. So
Not bad.
it's great. Yeah.
Good.
You can definitely live off of that. What was your favorite food to eat when you were on tour?
Ooh,
Just traveling around, like what was your
that's tough, but
comfort food?
I think like a like Chipotle, like a bowl comes closest to it because you
Yeah,
get your carbs, comfort food, rice,
yeah,
right? And then
yeah.
you get your meat and your vegetables without having to pick individual dishes and spend a whole lot of money. So it's just like all in one encompassing meal. But yeah,
No, that checks out.
yeah. And then when you're like
That
when
checks
you've had
out.
a really shitty week and then you're just like, yeah, I want pizza. That's about it.
Oh,
That's about it.
why
How
do we think
often?
exactly the same, Asta?
That's about it.
That's literally me.
Yeah.
How often did you play when you were on tour? Was it like every single week, or did you get a decent amount of gaps in between?
Honestly, depends what point of my life you're referring to. My first year on tour,
Okay.
like professionally,
Yeah.
I don't remember when I actually took time off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I did Q school like the December after I graduated. And then it was go
Yeah.
from the get-go. From Jan 1st, went to Australia, then just was traveling all over the world. And at that point, although I had performed well at Q School, I didn't know till the very last minute whether I was going to get into next week's event or not. So it's very stressful because you're like, okay, next week there's a tournament. I have to have contingencies in case I need to fly, but I still don't know if I'm playing or not. So it was kind of like you took whatever you could get in that moment. And yeah, certainly it took a toll, but it was good also. You had to take every opportunity that you got at that point. So I think my first year, like Jan to March was super busy. April we had off time, which is when I went and worked on some swing stuff with my coach, and then May I was back at it. I think that year, this is 2019, I probably was home for like 30 days. So
Wow.
I was always here or there. Like when I say 30 days, like I mean in my house 30 days. So
Wow.
luckily at that time I had a base in Dubai as well. So when I was there, I was still training, but home is still home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that year was the toughest. So it was funny when COVID came about, it was almost like a forced break because I hadn't taken that in a year and a half. Even
Yeah.
the beginning of Jan, we usually had the tour in Australia, which is Jan to March because it's summer for them there. And when you're going all the way there, you don't just want to go for 1 week. So you make the most of it, you play the whole season there. And it just so happened right when the tournaments were ending there, we had a tournament in Abu Dhabi, and suddenly India wanted to go into lockdown. So tournament got cancelled. Everyone just took the first flight home, and then next, the rest is history. But yeah,
Wow. What's been your favorite country to play golf in?
that's a great
Actually,
question.
favorite course. Yeah.
Favorite course. That's a really tough one. See, this question, the answers could be biased because I played really well there. But I'm going to choose two. One's in Morocco, where I shot the lowest round of my life. That
Oh
was in
wow. Okay.
Marrakesh. Beautiful
Yeah.
course, looks really straightforward, but you still got to put the ball in the fairway, on the green, and make the putt. And the weather was just perfect, like your mid-20s, cool in the morning, so one sweater kind of layer, so not too cold, not too warm. And then the other one was Spain, which personally I found the hardest course that I've played on. It's in Soto Grande, La Reserva, really undulating,
Okay.
very different terrain. So you got a mix of everything. It's like your normal tree line course, but you got undulation, you got elevated greens, you got lots of wind, yeah, and good weather.
Yeah.
So it was good testing conditions. I have not played in Scotland yet, but Scotland, Ireland, but I'd imagine if I did, that would definitely
Okay.
be up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so many different courses.
Yeah.
Each one playing so different. Do you change your bag, your clubs for courses regularly, or is
Not
that something you don't
really.
really do?
Maybe one club here or there, and that's usually like a hybrid. So, say if you're playing something that where you go to, like, say, where I was in Spain, I didn't do this at the time, but I realized that over time that it was a requirement. Or you just change the hybrid, so you got a little bit longer distances into the hole, so you want something that lands like an iron. So, for me personally, it was just the hybrid, but many people use different wedges and bounces like that, but I didn't feel like I needed to.
How
Yeah.
long does it take to find clubs that work for you? I feel like that's got to be a challenge, right?
If you go to someone who's an expert, maybe with some recommendations as well, it should not take too long, to be honest. But you have to do your homework. You can't just walk into a store and be like, hey, fit me for some new clubs. uh,
Wait, what are the different kinds of golf clubs?
what do you mean, different? Like just through the
Like you
set?
can get graphite and
Yeah.
you
I
can
feel like
get
you
different
got
kinds of sticks, right?
Yeah, so there's two predominant materials, graphite and steel. Um,
Okay.
yeah, those are the two main ones, and then you got different combinations of them. But two main materials, but different clubs you can get. There's an array of it. You go from your wedges to your driver. You can have more wedges, you can have more hybrids, you can have more irons. It just depends on how you are as a player and what kind of courses you play on and what tools you need for that course.
What part of the game do you like the most? I'm guessing short game. I remember your short game being
Yeah.
on point.
Yeah. I love the
Yeah.
short game and I love my driver as well. So the two extremes, putter and driver. But I'm trying to like
Putter
my
and
irons
driver.
a lot
Wow.
more because that's why I'm losing shots. So I'm trying to like them a lot more. Give them a little extra love this time.
Are you still playing competitively or just coaching now?
I am. This year, my first half was filled with more competition. For me, October was the last event at the Indian Open. And then
Okay.
November, December has been more coaching related. I did have to travel to the UK for my program and some examinations. So that kept me busy, and I'll start at the start of next year, Jan or Feb, depending on where my travel plans are, because I will have to travel to the UK once again for my program.
Wait, so this is a program where you're getting certified to be a golf coach?
Yes, I'm doing a program called
Okay.
the PGA of UK. And it's the same
Okay.
branding that you see, PGA of America, PGA of UK. There's a few bodies across the world. So there's one in the US, one in the UK, one in South Africa. That's all I know for now. but I'm doing this program from the UK. It's a 3-year program where you study all aspects of the industry. So you can think of it like an MBA for golf. You do retail, you do business, you do coaching, you do equipment, you do sports science. So all encompassing outlook of the industry. And then you pick your niche, what you want to do after that.
Interesting. Talk to me about these different aspects of golf when it comes to the mental, the physical, all of these things. Um, how do you navigate all of that? What's the
Practice.
mindset like going into a tournament of the European Tour? Like, that's crazy.
Practice. It's like cooking a dish, right? You got the ingredients, but you got to put them in the right proportions. So over time, you learn what works for you as well, what your taste profiles are, what you like, what you don't like, also what serves you well and what doesn't. So definitely, it's a try it out, see how it works, review, reflect, adjust. So pretty much like anything in life, to be honest with you. And going to your point about the mindset going into a tournament, an LET event. I haven't competed on the LET in the last, well, just one event this year at the Indian Open, but last year just competed on the Access Series. And really, you just have to look at it like any other tournament, but you sure as hell need to be prepared because competition's getting better by the day. And if you're not working hard, someone's definitely going to outdo you. So you got to control what you can, put your best foot forward, and be prepared.
Is golf getting better by the day because, like, the coaching is getting better, like, as humans we're actually playing better golf, or is it just the equipment that's just getting better and better and better?
Both. There's been a
Both? Okay.
huge evolution when it comes to equipment, as well as how data is being applied to golf. So statistics has become really, really important. Data analytics, trying to understand.
Okay.
You know, you're like, my chipping sucked today, but maybe it wasn't the chipping, it's just maybe you left yourself in those tight positions time and again. So when you review your performance just looking at data, you take out the biases and the subjectiveness and you look at your performance very objectively, which is very helpful because it takes the emotion out of it. So, you know, it is something that you are competing against yourself, against the golf course out there. But it's really important to try and look at those things from an objective lens so that you can give yourself the best chance to improve. But yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing. Yeah, golf is definitely improving, and that's because of how people are using data today.
Data.
Yeah. Last
Do
thing
you
you'd
have that?
expect, right?
Like even
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to say
Yeah.
that.
it's a funny time to say that because I literally just decided to start a sports analytics course like last night
Super. It was meant
because
to
I'm
be.
fascinated by data in sport,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've also grown up playing an individual sport in tennis, and
Yeah.
everything is so data oriented now that it's not about the fact that you missed a forehand. It's probably that you put yourself in that same position again and again
Exactly.
and missed the forehand. So it's a fascinating industry. Did you have a lot of that in college though? Were they very actively going through your performance from a data oriented perspective, or was that just
No, in college, it's very much you're by yourself, to be honest with you. You know, before I went to college, I felt like my coach, like a college coach, was going to be there training you, helping you out with your swing, designing your performance and practice schedule. Um, it depends university to university, but I very quickly realized that they're more like a mentor and a manager than they are your golf coach. I got lucky with my golf coach, David Sutherland. He himself was a professional golfer. His brother's still playing on the senior PGA tour. So I got a very different perspective of the sport and kind of what I was looking to gain out of that university experience. But I had a lot of friends whose coaches were some who didn't really coach them at all, some who were just purely managers, and then you also got the opposite spectrum where they didn't care if you had a coach or not, they wanted to be your coach. So whether you had to work on something or not, you had to go through certain drills that were mandatory to be, you know, part of the team. So it's a a wide spectrum. You can get all sorts of people, and today when I get juniors come to me and ask like, how do I pick the university and this that, and I think the biggest deciding factor, one of the biggest deciding factors, should be what is the person like, who, not how good or bad the coach is, but how good are they as people. Everyone wants to make their first impression the best impression. They want you to come to the school. They'll tell you, yeah, we got the state of the art facilities, and you get access to trackman and full driving range and the 18-hole golf course. But really, you're dealing with people day in, day out, and that's what matters and adds more value than just facilities, if that makes sense. You've seen a lot of athletes that have come out from, bare facilities, haven't had much training equipment, not much coaching, and they survive, they thrive through that. So it's a different perspective. Surely not what I expected going into it. I feel like I got lucky with it. Definitely got lucky with it. But I'm really grateful for the experience I had.
Let's when it comes to sport in college, I think India in particular is growing very fast with certain sports, golf being one of
Yeah.
them. We've produced a lot of very good talent very fast. A lot of these kids that are playing right now, how should they be preparing to get into the right schools to make sure that they have not only the best college experience but also the best golfing experience wherever
Do
they
they
go?
even need to get into the best schools?
Yeah, it's that's why this, when I've spoken to a few people about who should they approach, what kind of school should they look for, the first thing that people want to do is go for the branding schools. I want to get into Columbia, I want to get into Harvard, I want to go to Stanford. Now it depends what your goals are. Maybe college isn't right for you. um, you know, it depends what your personality is like. Are you doing it because other people are telling you to do it, or are you doing it because you think you can thrive in that environment? A lot of juniors I see today are actually wanting to turn professional first, just skip the college route, because they're like, yeah, I want to turn professional in any case, so why delay it? Which is totally fine. I think everyone has to make that decision for themselves. I wouldn't say that you should do this because I did it and it worked out well for me, or that you shouldn't do this because I did it and didn't work out well for me. Everyone's path is their own. I think it's important to recognize, and sometimes the child can't recognize that. So it's also the parents' responsibility to understand what is their child like and what kind of environment they see them thriving in, and also what kind of values they grow up with. Is education important? Sport is such that anything can happen at any point. You could be the best player in the world and get injured and never pick up a golf club again. Not to say that you should think about the worst case scenario, but you should just be prepared where, sure, you want to be the best at your sport, but you also have to be practical and cover ground about other aspects of life, because how you do in life is going to reflect how you do in your sport. So
How you
that's
do
how
in life reflects how you do in your sport. That's
that's
interesting.
how I put that together. Yeah, I think it's like a mirror
That
image,
also,
especially in golf.
yeah, with golf especially, I think golf is such a frustrating sport for people that, like, if you don't take a more objective lens and see the bigger picture, you'll always struggle because you'll pick at yourself for every bad shot, for every duff shot, and it's the mental battle in a game like golf which will have people give up before the physical battle of golf, right? Did you ever
100%.
feel that?
100%.
Actually,
You
how many times have you felt
you
that?
see the best players in the world. They all can hit the ball bloody far. They all can make putts. They all can hit the yardage you want them to hit it. Why aren't they winning every week, right? And it's just because of the space between the 2 years. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
I've faced it myself. I still do day to day. I mean, you just have to step back and look at the picture every now and then again. That's why it's important to have a good team around you. Sometimes you gotta have someone pluck you out of that position, so you can see it
Mm-hmm.
from a different perspective. But you see, like so
Yeah.
many golfers who've suddenly bloomed over the last few months or years were on the verge of quitting, right? And they stuck through, and it's like, you've seen that photo of this guy who's digging a mine and then he stops just before hitting the gold
Yeah.
mine, right? Um, Now, it's funny because you're like, how long do you keep going? And that question is very personal. You got to decide
Yeah.
what your priorities are and what you want to achieve.
What made you so confident in your abilities in golf? Also realizing that, an injury can happen, everything goes out the window with that, and actually, play on the European tour. Because another thing that sets golf apart is it's a slower game. Like you're with your thoughts after every shot you hit, and then you walk a couple hundred yards, and then you hit a shot, and then you're thinking again,
Yeah,
and that stuff.
yeah.
So how do you overcome that? Did you visit a sports psychologist when you were in university? Do you still do that? Is
I
a
did. I did work with a
thing?
sports psychologist who was really, really helpful. It was the
Okay.
first, well, when I started off golf, my dad
Yeah.
introduced us to a sports psychologist. So I think we had a
Mm.
sports psychologist before we had like a physical coach, really. Um,
Oh wow. Okay.
so we got introduced to it very early, and that's thanks to,
Mm-hmm.
my parents' perspective on the sport. Um, so
This is back in school.
yeah, yeah, like we were way young.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, really
Okay.
young. I don't even
Yeah.
think we understood what it meant at that time, but a lot of the
Mm.
stuff that we did was related to mental imagery and visualization and meditation. Seemed like a task and boring, but I think it did serve us well. And when I got to college is when I officially worked with like a licensed psychologist, and she was very helpful. It gave really good perspective. It's like, when you're a teenager, you write dear diary. She was my dear diary in those moments. So it was a good outlet. Again, provided an objective lens, gave very practical solutions how to look at my performance. And actually, a lot of it stemmed from how I conducted myself in my daily life. Um, what I thought about myself,
Mm-hmm.
what my thoughts were, what my values were, what I was trying to achieve, how I was trying to go about it. So that was very helpful. I wasn't able to maintain that relationship after graduating, um, because she was just affiliated with the school and didn't have an independent practice at the time. So I just tried to utilize all the resources I had gathered during those 4 years and try and take that into professional golf. But for sure, sometimes it doesn't even have to look like a sports psychologist, but you just need one confidant that you can, speak to and get those thoughts out of your head. Um, Dump them somewhere so you can move on with your life. But
Mm-hmm.
that certainly helped. At the moment, I'm not working with someone, but certainly I've thought a few times to restart.
Mm.
Yeah.
You said it also changed how you behaved in other aspects of your life. What was that change like? Like, were you just less emotional, more rational, more calculating? Like, how did that change your personal life?
I'd say the first change was in personal life, and then it translated into my
Mm.
golf life. Because, like you said, you
Oh,
got a lot of
okay.
time to think between two shots,
Yes.
right? The irony is that you actually don't want to be thinking between the two shots at all. You want to be thinking about
Yep.
singing some song or thinking about the weather or like having a chat with your co-players. And then when you get to the ball, you want those 40, 50 seconds to just zone in, do what you need to do, and
Yeah.
then reset again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, they're just simple, practical stuff, routine based, kind of understanding how you want to plan from a day to day perspective. The things kind of taking a look at what are you doing on a daily perspective. Are these activities helping you achieve your goals? If not, what do you need to change and how do you change them? Stuff like that. It's very basic stuff. Any human.
Mindfulness type stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all habits related. Yeah.
Which are like, have you dedicated a lot of time building and stacking really good habits, which have corresponded to your performance on the
Yeah,
course?
meditation. That was the biggest one for me. Um, noticed a
Okay.
huge,
So what is meditation for you?
honestly, it's the presence of mind for me. For me, sitting
Okay.
dedicatedly, it's not like you don't think anything. You allow all the thoughts to come through. You just acknowledge them. You don't. You try and keep your attention, your consciousness in the present. You understand that things will come and go in your head, and you just keep trying to come back to the present, um, and breathing during the process. So really, it's like, okay, are you noticing sound? What are you feeling in the moment? What can you hear? What can you see? Um, but yeah, it sounds like a little conceited, when you talk about, oh yeah, meditation really helps me. But um, I actually haven't been meditating the last few months, and I had this thought the other day where I was texting my friend, like, dude, I'm experiencing serious road rage. I think I need to start meditating again. Serious road rage, and I'm not so vocal, and it's. And I was like, yeah, okay, my blood pressure is getting way too high. So
Oh
it's
my
funny
God.
where inspiration and motivation comes from different parts of your life, but you know, it always ebb and flows. So you gotta just keep at it. You won't be perfect all the time, but as long as you're moving, you're working towards progress, you're working towards learning, and that's not stopping. That's all you can ever control or do.
It reminds me of a quote that I read recently
Yeah,
where the reward in showing up every day is unparalleled. Instead of winning, you focus on outlasting and you start playing a very different game.
yeah.
And it sticks with me with like everything I do in my life. And I think it's the same for Riva. It's your mindset tells me that it's exactly the same for you, right? It's like almost being a woodpecker and focusing on the consistency and going at it again and again and again,
Yeah,
no matter what the result is. And that's where you really reap the most reward at the end of the day.
correct. And that can get really difficult. There's plenty of distractions you'll find along this journey that, you'll sometimes what people say will bother you. Sometimes you'll hold your ground, be like, okay, it's my journey to know and understand. It's fine. People will say what they need to say. Um, Sometimes when you're trying to figure things out, you'll let in people's opinions get in the way of things, but that's okay too. I think it's just important to, it kind of tells you how strongly you want it, right? If you can hold your ground and really clarifies what you want to do in life.
How did
What's the
you
drum?
Go.
Go on.
deal with those like distractions which must have come from family, from friends, from sacrifice? I'm sure there was a whole bunch of all of them, right?
Yeah, sometimes I managed them well and sometimes I didn't. And I think that's okay. Figured out sometimes it was easier to do it than not. But really, just, like you said, you got to keep chipping away at it. I think the biggest difference is when you wake up in the morning and you know what you got to achieve, nothing can get in the way. It's as little as identifying that. If you just go about the day, you wake up, you go do your things, XYZ, but you don't really know what you're trying to achieve, it's going to be a little difficult to make an impact. But if you just identify that in the morning, it could be as little as saying, okay, today I got to do one, two, three, because it's going to help me do this. That's it. We talk about when I'm coaching, I emphasize this to my students as well, where a lot of people who are just learning the game, they get so caught up in how do I hold the club, how do I swing the club, and after some point you have to externalize. At the end of the day, it's a sport, right? See ball, hit ball, see target, hit target. The ball, your target's out there, not inside. So while you need to do that work, but if I ask you to sign your name and I ask you to do it very deliberately, you'd probably screw up. because it comes to you very naturally, right? The more the more spotlight you put on it, the harder it's going to get. So it's important to keep shifting that internal focus to an external focus. Um, yeah, that's really how I can put it in a few words for
I think
you.
that's the best piece of golf advice. See ball, hit ball. Exactly. I fucking love that.
I really hope Kaka sir is hearing this because I never heard that in my coaching career.
No, it's funny because
Yeah, see what?
so many times we've done the hard work, you built the swing, and I asked them, okay, do you know where you want to hit the ball? They say, yeah, I do. I was like, okay, where is it? Then they identify the target. Then the next swing they make, they most of the times end up hitting the target. And all the balls before that just kind of went here and there. So it's just a very, and I learned this from my own game. When my dad was on the bag, I used to keep a lot of thoughts in my head, be like, okay, I'm going through the process and things like that. And he's like, you should start voicing it. I know you have this plan in your head, but just make it clear. And that really helped me where I was like, okay, I want to start the ball 5 yards right of the flag, want it to end just 2 yards left of the flag. Just getting really specific with it. It's like you're giving instruction to your body. Your brain knows it, but you're just giving instructions. That usually took care of a lot of things. So it's a really easy way to simplify things. We like to complicate everything in our life. So, yeah.
When did you start coaching, and did that like impact your game significantly? Because now you're on the other side of things. You're giving advice to people, the kind of advice that you received before.
Yeah.
And so has that kind of changed your relationship with the game, how you handle yourself, how you just interact with it?
Absolutely. I officially started coaching at the start of this year in Feb. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so not that long back. I did a few used to help out with junior camps and stuff in college and here and there when friends, members would ask for some advice, but officially only a few months back. And a lot of people used to tell me, yeah, you should coach, you'll be a good coach. And I just think, yeah, I'll do that when I retire, like I have the rest of my life ahead of me. But also, I had this outlook about what coaching is like. If you can't do it yourself, how will you preach it to others? And then I realized that, no one really knows it all. Everyone's working, educating themselves, learning to get better and better. And there's plenty of people that I could still help at this beginning stage for them. For example, people who are new to the game, juniors who are picking up the sport. And also feel like I'm able to provide a different perspective, having played myself on tour and then also starting to coach now. So educating myself on more technical stuff, not just what I'm coaching, but how to coach. Communication is a huge aspect of that. So a lot of times things get lost in the sauce, and it's important to just be able to communicate things effectively and simply so that the other person understands. But I started enjoying golf a lot more. There was a moment in the middle where
Oh, wow.
I kind of got bored with it. And that's
Okay.
because I wasn't playing that well. So it's pretty easy to get to that position. So it gave me good, new perspective, more life, and also more accountability. That okay, you got to practice what you preach, because it's a huge responsibility when you're coaching someone, and to have that kind of impact on someone who's never played the game. You could determine whether they'll stick with this sport or not, because you're going to make that first impression on them, which I never thought that would matter to me as much as it does. But anytime I meet someone who's playing for the first time, I'm like, I got to make sure that you have the best time ever and that you continue to play this game. I don't know why, but I just feel like that. The games have offered me so much as well. I've traveled the world, met amazing people, had amazing food, and it's it's a different life. It's a different perspective that you gain. I feel like one thing that I told all my peers, even in college, who didn't play sports, or those who were looking to go and play sports abroad, that travel as much as you can, because nothing teaches you more about life than traveling.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, when you said most people thought that you'd be a really good coach, it just hit like it kind of makes sense because from what I remember in school, like you were a very empathetic person, and I feel like for a coach, that is something that is probably very important,
Yeah.
right? And so when it comes to coaching and just being a player, what are the different skill sets you need for each, and how does that translate over from one to the other? Because like high empathy is what I'm guessing is really important for a coach, right? But for a player, probably not. And so, how do you just manage those different facets?
Yeah, so it's funny, as a player, I don't like to coach myself. I've been there, done that.
Oh,
Do
interesting.
not want
Yeah.
to. I do not want to, and that's just because, as when it comes to myself, I tend to overanalyze, and I've realized that I need more simple and effective strategies. I need to have someone else look at it. So I just want to be a robot. I want an expert to tell me what is it that I need to do to get to this point. This is my goal. This is what I need to do. Help me. Of course, having some technical knowledge and building upon that technical knowledge. If I do have good set of mentors who are able to keep it that simple for me, but I had to go through some people where things were very technical, and I realized that technical stuff does not suit me as a player. So over time, I've understood what works for me and what doesn't. So when it comes to being a player, I like to keep things very simple. What is the ball doing, and then work backwards from there. And generally, as a coach as well, I've realized the things I'm learning through this program as well. That a lot of those things are in sync with my own personal philosophies. So I don't feel like I need to dabble too much from one extreme to another. But of course, you kind of put like your coaching hat on and then you put your player hat on. And I think having that perspective of having a coaching hat on has given me that realization that the two are very different, and now I can separate the two. I can compartmentalize them, and I think when you're able to do that in a sport like golf, nothing like it.
Has that required you to also, you've always identified as a golfer from like the youngest age. Has there been a level of unconditioning now where you also have to identify as a coach, and in social circles when people say, well, what do you do for a living? What is that identity like for you now versus what it used to be?
That's a great question. I have noticed a shift. I've always identified as a golfer, and I always will. But I think as you grow up, you tend to add on more identities. It's not just the one. You don't say I'm a teenager, but as a golfer now, and having coached for a few months, I feel a little bit more comfortable saying I'm a professional golfer and a coach. At first, I was like, okay, I'm not sure if this is how I want to not even be identify myself, but I think it's come rather naturally. It's not been like a forced transition. So both are part of my identity.
Which one do you prefer?
I don't think I can choose.
No.
Nah, grass is always green on the other side.
Grass is always greener where you water it, isn't it?
Also, yeah.
Fair enough.
No, it's always interesting when a player turns into a coach. I had this experience with tennis during COVID where I lived, there was no coach that could come in. And so I became the resident coach and everyone wanted to play some sport, and tennis is the easiest
Correct.
during that kind of time. I don't think I went in with the approach that I wanted to change my perspective. I just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
But it made me appreciate the game even more than I did.
Yeah.
Because I realized that my entire life I was just being taught the sport, and all I had to do was show up and hit ball and hit target. and now I'm responsible for these people doing exactly what you're doing with your students now.
Correct.
And I think that mindset shift only comes when you change the entire approach around what you're doing.
Yeah, also when you're kind of put into that situation, you have to figure a way how to go out there and coach other people. Um, I think what it also taught me as a player was that there'll always be experts there. Some will work for you, some won't. But at the end of the day, the responsibility, the onus always falls on the player. It's their responsibility for the decisions that they've taken, for the experts they've chosen to help them grow and perform. And I'll give you an example. This going back to the equipment thing. For the longest time, so this is right out of college. I just before graduating, I got a new set of clubs, and I think it was my first year on tour. At the end of my first year on tour, I missed cut, and there was a tow truck there for club fitting, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go and get my clubs, checked out. I don't know what to do, what to ask, but let's just go see what's happening because my game's not, the ball's not going the way I'm expecting it to go. And I'd never thought about it going that in depth into it. And I was like, okay, I have this opportunity. I've got 2 days. Let's go figure it out. And I realized that my specifications on the clubs were grossly off. And it was so off that it couldn't have happened just by the clubs bending. So much so that, so just going a little bit technical here, you got standardized clubs. I had to get them 2 degrees flat to my proportions. When I went to get them checked a year later, they were 2 degrees upright. So that's 4 degrees off from where I need to be. Now, 4 degrees for clubs to bend is a lot. You need a lot of manpower to change the club that much. But 1 or 2 degrees happens, your clubs get bent, airport, flights, travel, this, that. But 4 degrees was a huge, huge difference. And I realized that I had to still check my clubs when I got them brand new, even though I gave the company the specifications. This is what I need. I just expected them to be perfect when they arrived. I learned the hard way that it was my responsibility to check them whether they work correct or not. Because a lot of times when it comes from these big companies, manufacturers, that it won't be perfect, and it was a very costly mistake. But I think there's a lot of players today that don't know. I'm sure there's a few professional players also that don't know what kind of clubs that they're using. And some people get on okay with it. They get lucky. It's exactly how it's meant to be, and some don't. And you can ebb and flow between that position as well. But at the end of the day, the onus always falls on the player. So you gotta do your homework. Doesn't matter whether you know it or not. Find an expert, figure it out, and keep notes, keep track, log it all. So if you go from one expert to another, at least you have some data to present. You're just not like, I don't know what it was. So at least you're not veering off too far from where you need to be.
There's so much intricacy in the game of golf that, like, I don't know, I feel like people who start golf at a later age would just not want to do it because of the amount of intricacy that goes into the sport outside of the frustration, and most people don't have the mental fortitude to deal with like not being able to do something.
Yeah.
And golf is a
People hit
sport
balls
where you
well.
have to, yeah, but in golf you have to not be able to do that for like 2 years before you can hit the ball, like 10 yards. So mentally it's a very taxing game. I'm actually curious. You said the mistake you made was very costly, and golf is associated with being a very, very expensive sport
Yeah.
with a very high barrier to entry.
Yeah.
You've dedicated your whole life to this sport and you still are playing it, you're coaching. What has that relationship been like with money when it comes to, one, earning for yourself, but two, also just the aspect of playing the sport and doing it in a sustained fashion? I think for many, you can come from good backgrounds and it can be easier to do that, but
Yeah.
there's a large subset of people that may love the sport and don't have that opportunity. So,
Correct.
like, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it is a very expensive sport. Golf and tennis, probably the two most expensive sports out there. Um,
And the least money earned for anyone outside of the top 50. So,
yeah. Um, Coming to your point of barrier to entry, it's getting a lot more accessible today. Um, it's becoming a lot more social. It's becoming an aspirational thing to do. People in business are like, oh yeah, I want to learn how to play golf. I got so many students that come to me like, yeah, I have a meeting and we're gonna go play golf, so I just need to learn before that meeting. So it's nice to see that, and where I'm coaching right now at Harmony Golf, it's a very accessible place, whether you have equipment, don't have equipment, have the right clothing, don't have the right clothing, have the right shoes, don't have. What they're trying to do is open up the sport to anyone and everyone, which I think is amazing. You can see that with models across the world with Top Golf as well. Now bars and clubs opening up, driving ranges, making it more social. Um, Also is a huge step towards the game. I think it's important. A lot of people think that it's ruining the game, but you got to make it more accessible for people to be more engaged in it, to invest in the sport as well. Eventually, those are your fans at the end of the day who are going to come out and watch people play at tournaments. But yes, being a professional, taking care of the expenses, it's a very expensive sport, and also affects how you perform, week in, week out, every week. Kind of depends what's going to happen next week. Are you going to be able to make it to the tournament or not? So very taxing. If you are able to get some good people in your corner who recognize and are willing to maybe invest. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. So I think it's a little bit of a challenge for athletes across the world. I wouldn't say just India. You think that, yeah, people internationally, they're doing, they have more help. I think in Europe, it's kind of the same. It's all through networks, believe it or not. But it's also part of sport. And, that's why today social media has also become so important. You're not just a golfer. You have to, put out a personal brand out there. Um, it's all part of the sport, being an athlete, whether you like it or not. I've had difficulty coming to terms with that, to be honest with you. I've been saying for the longest time I'm going to start my Instagram channel, but just haven't gotten it up there. Also like want it to be perfect. I want it to be a certain way, because I don't want to just put riffraff out there, but also be authentic to whoever's going to consume that content. But I realized that there's no right or wrong. You just have to start somewhere and get better at it.
Yeah, it's just about, I think, putting yourself in that position. That's what I think kind of happened with us with the podcast as well. We had the idea, or I should say, Rohan had the idea of starting for a very long time. Like, we spoke about it, it was a thing, but it took us, yeah, so we spoke about it. It was probably a couple of years in the making, and then one day we just decided, like, just do it. We didn't have any plans. We had nothing. We just got a camera. We got one mic, and we just sat and spoke.
Yeah.
And we decided that we'd start having. I feel like having expectations also kind of helps. And we keep each other accountable. We started doing one guest a week, putting out one podcast a week with a guest. And this is, I think, the 14th week, and we haven't missed a week yet. And so from going from a point of not having any idea, any plan on how to do this, and the first few were uncomfortable. Like, it's weird having a camera in your face and just talking.
Yeah.
And then
I'll be
going to
honest,
this where,
this made me really uncomfortable when you texted. I was like, yes, of course, sure. I was like, I know you guys, like, you guys started this, which is really cool. And in my head, I was like, I don't want to be in front of a camera. I do not, like, no camera, only speaker is just fine. But, I was like, you know what? Gotta put myself out of my comfort zone and try something new. So here we are.
Here's
Yeah.
here's
my
you
debut.
entering the world
Here's
of
my
yeah.
debut.
Here's you entering the world of personal branding and social media.
Yeah. Totally.
This is your big break.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's a hard world.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's fine.
Yeah, but talking about
People are
the
going to judge you,
yeah,
this, that. You guys have set up
it doesn't really
a
matter.
certain goal. You want to achieve something out of this
Yeah.
podcast, and you're doing it. And it takes a lot of balls to do that. So kudos to you guys.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, you
I
were
don't
saying
think we
something.
give a shit about judgment. We don't give a shit about judgment.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you do in life, there will be naysayers and there will be people there to put you down. I believe that those are the kinds of people that are probably projecting some kind of insecurity they may have in that moment. And it's not a problem, it's more, if you're feeling that way, then it's probably got something more to do with you than with me doing what I want to do in my life. And it's just, I don't know, it's a different approach, but I've always seen it that way. So judgments not concerned me for the last 2 or 3 years of my life. It did a lot before that, but I think it's just a shift in perspective where you have to stop giving a shit about it because it's going to be there all your life.
Yeah. I think the sooner you can, I don't know, grasp that, the better off you'll be.
Yeah. We had a professional basketball player also on our board, and he said the same thing. Like before, like when you have these lofty dreams, everyone's gonna tell you, oh, you'll never make it, or you're being stupid, you're doing this, that, whatever. And then when you do, the same people, they turn around and be like, oh, I always knew you'd get there, you know? And so
Of
at the end of the
course.
day, those are not the people that matter. It's, at least for me, I like to keep my circle small and close.
Yeah.
And outside of that, whatever's happening, it doesn't affect me. It is what it is.
Yeah. You
And
don't
so
you don't
that
become
mindset
you
definitely
don't
helps.
become an overnight success. No one does.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no one does
Yeah.
ever.
I
Yeah.
literally I read a quote about overnight success last night. It said it said that it's not about the overnight success, it's about all the nights that you sacrificed to reach that one night where it felt like an overnight success.
Yeah.
And no one sees that, right?
No.
And no one will ever see that.
And that's fine. It's it's your process, it's your journey. So those who will stick around, you'll cherish them for life. But it's all part of the process. You'll have some people that are there just in your moments of success. And that's the irony with sports as well, right? You get all the help when you reach up to the top, when you really needed the help getting there. Um, but yeah, again, part of the sport.
Has talking in front of a camera become a little more comfortable over the course of this conversation?
For sure. I think we just
Yeah.
got really into things. I was talking to my mom earlier. I was like, I haven't spoken to these guys in so long. Maybe I'll need an icebreaker. And she pulled out these like Eskimo kind of caps. And I was like, maybe I should just put this on before we start. It might help me more than it'll help you. I'm like, hey guys, new hairstyle. But she's like, no, please do not do that. You will embarrass yourself. Is it okay? But yeah, I think I was more comfortable than I thought I would be. But yeah, I think again, part of growing up, right, and being in this generation where so many people are just in your face or cameras in your face all the time. So it's okay. Yeah,
So can we expect Insta content coming soon?
100%. See, I put myself on the spot now. The whole world's gonna know.
There we go.
Yeah. So gotta practice what you preach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You've said a lot about like support and people around you. Your sister has also played golf for the same amount of time that you have, right? I mean, you both
Yeah.
have been at it for decades now. How has
Oh,
her
Not too
a
yet.
decade? Okay.
Not that old yet.
No, okay. Approaching. How has her presence in your life and her also choosing the same path as you influenced the way that you have seen the game, played the game? And do you think that it kind of goes both ways? Has there been one who's been more of a mentor, one more of a coach, or is it kind of just you're a unit?
No, I don't think we To be honest, like, I'm so thankful she chose the same sport. Because in the beginning, she's like, yes, I'm going to play golf. Then she's like, nope, I'm not going to play golf. I'm going to play tennis. And then she came back to the sport herself. We were still young at that point, but being able to like have spent 2 years in college together, compete for the same university, for the same team, travel together, was really, really nice. It was great being able to compete side by side. I wish we could have done more of that professionally, and we might still get to. Just a few tournaments here and there, but not like a whole season on one particular tour, because she has spent a lot of time, or most of her time, in the US. And I spend most of my time in India and Europe. But yeah, it's been really nice to have been able to share that journey. Also, not just like, obviously she's my sister and we have a sibling relationship, but also being able to share our golfing journey together. There's some things that only we could understand. Either teammates wouldn't get it, our parents wouldn't get it. So it's really nice to have that sounding board through this whole experience. And I think we did our fair share and we help each other out. Sometimes she's the mentor, sometimes I'm the mentor. It's just we take up the role what we need the other person to be in that moment, which is priceless, to be honest. Yeah.
You think your journey would have been different if she didn't pick the same sport?
100%. 100%. Yeah. Definitely.
That's one common theme that I think we've got from everyone we've had on the podcast, but specifically athletes, is that the support system. It's always about the people around you,
Yeah.
and they always attribute their success to that.
Yeah, even in an individual sport, you cannot do everything by yourself. And I think the sooner you understand that and you allow people to help you, it's not that you can't do it. It was a little bit of a learning curve for me as well. I was like, I can do this by myself. And it's not just about you being able to do it, it's about where your attention needs to be, more focused on, and you allow other people to help you during that process. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Has getting married also added to that perspective of yours now?
The support
And
system.
finding the support system and finding a life partner.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. I feel like that support system's only grown. So I'm really thankful for that. You know, I feel really lucky, to be honest. Yeah.
How long have you been married?
2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Time's flown. Yeah. Time has flown.
Belated congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think most people talk about how, I mean, Ribhav says this all the time, but like the three most important things is what you do, where you are, and who you're with. And it seems like you have found what you're doing. You've also found who you're with. And for the most part, where you are, has it been a stream of luck, you think, or has a lot of it been your own individual effort that's got you to these places? Outside, golf aside, everything else that's happened in your life, has it just been a stream of luck?
I think, when things work out really well, you're like, yeah, I got really lucky. It's hard to see how you put those things into place. And sometimes you are able to see it if you are actively looking for it. But I guess it goes back to like, generally overall in life, what your values are, what your goals are, what your perspectives are. And the sooner you're able to get your foundations in order, I think the sooner you can spend your time pursuing your aspirations, your career, your goals. So again, coming back to that point of support system, right? There are some things that our elders have been doing for generations to come. Their logic kind of flawed in today's generation to some extent, but there is also some merit, right? It's like all these superstitions: don't cut your nails at night, bad luck for you. It's really because the olden days there was no light, so you'd probably just step on a nail and it hurt you. So there's logic. You just give a different reasoning so that people buy into that logic. So I think it's good to get your ducks in a row. This is not just in terms of marriage, I mean, just generally with your values and understanding what you want. And, a lot of people get swayed by what society is doing. Society is doing many things. Society is not always right. But just being clear and holding your ground in the face of, what other people are doing. You just got to carve out your own path and stay true to it.
Yeah, I like that take on luck. I think it was Gary Player who said it, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And yeah, I've always tried to think of that while working towards any goal, is that I think opportunities arise and, present themselves to everyone. It's just at that time, are you ready to take advantage of that opportunity?
Yeah.
And as long as you're, working consistently,
Yeah.
um, you'll always be able to do that.
It's also what you focus your attention on, right? If you're looking for a new job, all your attention is going to be on
Yeah.
getting a new job. It's not going to be on finding a new life partner. So
No, that's very true.
you got to put your attention to it. Everything takes some amount of time and effort.
Was that an active thing that you put your effort to? Like, how did you guys meet? What was that
We met in
story like?
schools. We were friends in school.
Yeah.
And
Were you same batch or was he a batch
same
above?
batch.
Oh, same batch, okay.
Same batch. Yeah.
Yeah.
We started dating in college. So we both were in California, different universities, and we had a close group of friends, just 5, 6 of us, that would hang out over summer, winter break. But not really actively, like I did know that I want to be with someone and I don't want to just be with someone for the heck of it. So that was always my kind of mindset, was like, if I'm investing that time and energy away from golf, away from my studies, it better be damn worthwhile. And that was really important to me. I was like, I do not want to waste my time with people who are not serious. And
Yes.
the rest is history. But I mean, I wasn't like actively like going around searching for people, but I was certainly clear on what I was looking for and where I would engage my efforts and energy. Yeah.
How do you know that you've found someone you want to spend the rest of your life with?
You just know. It's difficult to put
just
into
know.
words, to be honest. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, doesn't matter what, it's not about what clothes they wear or what their hair looks like. It's really about those values and whether they're in sync. And I think the more, sometimes people say opposites attract, but if you can find common interests, that can add a lot of value to your life. Because if you like to do the same things, you can enjoy a lot of things together, which is really awesome when you have good company.
A lot of people say opposites attract, which is even ever since a kid I've been hearing this, and it's never made sense to me because they don't.
They
Like,
don't,
if your
no.
personalities if they're opposite, you're gonna hate each other. Like, they don't match.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you need a little bit of like some differences,
Of
yes.
course.
Like, you get different perspectives to the relationship, but the core fundamentals, they have to be aligned. Like, opposites are, it's not the move at all.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not black or
yeah,
white.
that's always
It's
something I
gray,
found
when it
funny.
comes to these things. But better be black or white when it comes to values, or somebody won't be happy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's very true.
I think even when you're in relationships, what's probably gonna steer you apart is differences in values. And it could be a single value or two values, but everyone has certain non-negotiables, I think, when it comes to the kind of value system that you have and the value system you want your partner to have.
Yeah.
Has there been a set of values that have been the most important to you growing up that you also almost seeked in someone else all the time?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. I mean, it was the crux of the relationship, to be honest, is the crux of the relationship. Respect, communication, strong family values, strong moral values. In my opinion, these are the basics. Everyone is different. I'm no one to tell you what your values should be or not be. But the sooner you can acknowledge it, I think the easier it is to navigate your life and then also navigate a partner. Um, yeah,
Are kids on the horizon?
this is too personal of a question, Rivav.
Dude,
Don't answer, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can choose not to
I am
answer.
choosing not to answer.
Fair enough.
but would you want your proverbial kids to be golfers?
I definitely want them to play golf. I want them to play all sports. Yeah, then they can pick and choose. Yeah.
Seeing that you and your sister have also dedicated your lives to sports, do you feel like a lot of your strongest qualities and values have come from playing sport? And how do you think that would have been different if you hadn't played a sport?
I do not want to imagine what I'd be like if I did not play sports. I think I'd be a lot sadder in life, to be honest. This is no offense to anyone
That makes
else.
three of us. Yeah.
No offense to anyone who doesn't play sports, but maybe this is a sign that you should probably pick up a sport. It does a whole lot of good. Yeah.
Teaches you a lot
What
about
were
yourself.
those? Yeah.
Sorry? I didn't catch that.
Rohan, you wanna go? You were going to continue with the question.
Always, always.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask what those goods were with sport, and what were those key things it taught you that you haven't learned anywhere else in life, that only sports can teach you.
I don't think that you can't learn those things in life any other way. I do think that when you play sports, you learn them a lot quicker and also understand the value of it a lot quicker. Um, these are things that you study in like even child psychology and just, when a kid is growing up, there's certain things that they need to go through and why parenting is so important, right? Where you have to be engaged with this newborn baby that doesn't know what's right from wrong in the world. As simple as moving, talking, listening, hearing, to, understanding how to communicate with people, what teamwork looks like, what thinking for yourself looks like, what hard work looks like, what support looks like. Yeah, the list can just go on and on and on. But I do feel like when people engage in sports, um, they open up another dimension to life that they probably would not have gained that perspective without sports. And it's never too late. I mean, I don't think, people, I have some students that are like 60 plus who started playing golf now. Some people who've never played sports in their life. And some people who have, but now is the only time they've gotten to engage in something new and learn a new skill, and it's really refreshing to see. You always have a perspective of what the common man or like your generation, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, but it was people are a lot nicer than you think. At least that's what's been my experience working with so many new people at the academy, that you got people from all walks of life, and if you start a conversation with like positive mindset, being kind, and really just regarding them as another human who have feelings and thoughts, that usually things work out pretty well.
It's interesting that you said teamwork over there because, golf individual sport and people don't necessarily, like, there are so many layers to sports, right?
Yeah.
And people wouldn't necessarily think that the whole teamwork aspect is something you learn from an individual sport. But it's very interesting you say that. Earlier we talked about goals, where you also mentioned Instagram and stuff. What's
What's on the
what's the
horizon?
what's on the horizon? But in general, before that, what's the grand goal? Like, what is the thing that you want to achieve? If you care about legacy, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? Or what's the big goal, in the grand scheme of things?
I think the big goal is to have left a positive impact on the people that I've come across. Um, you know, in all my dealings, communication, relationships, coaching, being a professional player. In under all of those hats, really, that's the biggest goal. And I think that's what life's about, right? Finding your purpose. And the fact that you've just asked me this question has really just clarified what that purpose is for me. When you sit down, you ask yourself, what is your purpose? And you're just like, what is my purpose? Sometimes it's hard to come to those, to pinpoint to something. But through this conversation, it's just, that's the one theme that's just recurring in my head, which is really to just leave a positive impact across every human that I come across. And I think, through this sport, I'll be able to do that because I meet so many people from different parts of the world, and this sport has taught me so many things. And if I can just give some sort of access to people who've never had that before, right? And sports is a beautiful way to get that message across. So yeah, definitely through the medium of golf. But that's the big picture.
Beautiful. And what's next for Astha?
What's next is 2025 is coming up. New season, more competition, finish my year 2 of my program. So yeah, a lot of learnings, delving into different aspects of the industry. So a lot more work on like the business side of golf, equipment, and then obviously being able to impart this information to people alike. Yeah.
Okay, business side of golf. What do you mean by business side of golf? What kind of things do you want to focus on?
That's a great question. I'm not sure yet, to be honest.
Fair
But really,
Yeah.
more so around my coaching and then also playing. So business side of golf is more like from a understanding perspective. India's in a good position where golf's growing amongst corporates. You see so many leagues that have come up, and you can see the influx of money into golf, amateur golf. And I'd like to work on that influx of money go towards professional golf as well. So learning about that. Yeah.
Wow, I haven't seen the sun in a while in Toronto. It's been so cloudy. It's on my face. Refreshing.
That's such a big opportunity in India, especially now. Like you said, with the leagues and with more corporates, more people just wanting to enter into a sport. I think at some point in your life, golf. The irony of golf is that it's the highest barrier to entry, but at a certain point in your life is the lowest barrier to entry.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you deal with plenty of those people that you end up meeting, coaching,
Yeah.
and such. So
It's interesting. I don't know what it is about the sport, but a few of my friends from university, they started playing just about 2 years ago. For the first time ever, they never played golf before, and now you can't get them away from it. Every weekend they're on the course, they're playing, and it's just this addiction that I've seen with most people. Like they just pick up the sport at a very late part. Not late. I mean, they're fucking
Relative,
24,
yeah.
25, but relatively late,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, they just fall in love with it. And I've never seen that happen with any other sport. It's just golf. Like people just get addicted. I don't know what it is, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that you have to suck for so long before you get better. And also that one shot can bring you
Spot on.
back. You could hit 100
Yeah,
bad
true.
shots, and that one shot is what's going to bring you back to the game. And to be honest, I've noticed the same thing, especially while coaching this summer. There were some people that wanted to come at bloody noon for a lesson in mid-July, August. And I'm just like, really, why? Why do you want to be here? Like, I understand for me, it's like part of my profession, but really, I just could not understand for someone who's trying to learn a new skill. What is it that brings you out here at noon in peak summer? But I'm all for it. If you want to be there, I'll be there.
is there something that you would leave anyone in their 20s listening to this with a specific piece of advice?
No. To be honest, no.
See ball, hit ball.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the best response we've ever got.
No. I hope whoever's watched this picked out something that they can latch on to, or maybe not. But I hope you were entertained. Yeah, that's your guys' job.
If there was there one guiding light for you that you stuck to through your life that maybe you could bestow upon not them but us
One guiding light in terms of, sorry, elaborate on your question.
in terms of what kind of kept you going, kept the momentum, kept you motivated,
And
didn't
inspired the
have you give up?
self-confidence that you have,
Sorry?
you know,
You said it again?
and that inspired the self-confidence that you have.
Oh, it's funny. I don't really look at myself as a super self-confident person, but I think the guiding light would just be to continue to learn and grow. That's really it. Everything that I do on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes don't, and what reminds me and pushes me to take on the next day is to learn and grow, to be honest with you. Even something that I've done for, say, almost 20 years of my life, I'm still learning every day something new, which blows my mind because, as an athlete, you're like, I've been doing this for so long, I should be so good at it. I should know it inside out, and sometimes you don't. But as long as you keep learning, that's all that matters.
That's great advice. I love to hear it. I think you've been very inspiring to a lot of people as well. I definitely was inspired when I learned that you and Nishtha, you're playing on the European Tour, Nishtha on the LPGA. Like that's ridiculous. That's very impressive. And so, no, it's been an absolute honor to be able to talk with you, have you on the podcast. Sorry about the kid question, by the way, if that made you
No,
uncomfortable.
don't worry. No stress.
We're gonna cut it out.
No stress.
We're gonna cut it out
No
anyway.
stress at all. All good. Honestly, thanks
Yeah.
guys for having me. You put me out of my comfort zone and I appreciate that.
Yeah, this was super fun actually. I feel like it was a very honest conversation. I picked up a lot. Like I liked your approach to life. It's very simple.
Thank you.
And I think that when you're a high empath, you have a better approach to life. And that's why I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. So did I. I honestly didn't know how it was gonna pan out. I was like, should I Google myself and see what's going on in my life? What have I
No,
done?
I literally had the same thought yesterday. Oh my god.
What have I done? Let me just look it up. Because I was like, if these guys ask me like what my achievements have been or what I've done, I'm just like, I'm gonna have no answer, so I better look it up.
I mean, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Do you still hold the Sacramento State single season record?
I think I got beat this year. I got beat
Oh.
this year. Yeah. Single season record. I don't even remember what that statistic
70,
was.
73.97 in 30 rounds average.
Should we just look it up?
Whoa.
It's gonna be in the
Yeah.
archives for sure. I think I
Yeah, I
definitely
wanna
got
see if
beat. I mean,
someone
if I didn't, that'd be really sad. I mean, the girls have been doing really well. Uh,
Now, if you
Yeah.
haven't been beat, that's gonna be unfortunate.
I hope none of your girls from Sacramento State hear this.
no, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we'll
I'm
check it
sure I've
out.
been beat. No doubt about it. Maybe even in the next year. To be honest, I have not kept with the stats, but yeah, let's just say we have. I have, and it's good because
Okay.
we want golf to get better, right? You can't have me be the best season record holding from like 4 years, 6 years back. That would not be okay for the sport or the university.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. I think when we come back, we'll definitely pop over to Harmony and hit some balls with you,
Yeah, super.
or actually get taught on how to hit balls straight.
Yeah, just anytime you guys have my number. Ron, I'm not sure I have yours or you have mine, but Rebirth, you can just
I'll take
connect
it from
us.
Rebirth.
Yeah, super.
Absolutely.
100%.
Sweet.
And if you ever need help with like getting started on the personal branding for social, which
I
is
will. I
necessary,
saw you
just
have a road
feel free to
mic.
text.
Is that like a stand mic
Yeah.
or is it like a clip-on? Okay.
It's just one of these.
How expensive
That's
was
all it
that?
is. 10 grand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The wireless
Yeah.
one is like 25 is what I saw. 23 or 25.
This is really good. It gets the like you literally just plug it into your laptop
Yeah.
and that's all you need.
Okay. I need something more like on the
So
go. I was thinking of getting one of those clip-on
Yeah.
things for when I'm coaching. Start to put out a little bit, some clips, but Actually, I'm going to use this opportunity to ask you guys if there's something that, say you guys haven't played golf in a while, you go out to get coaching. What is something that you'd kind of look out for? Maybe something online that you'd look out for that would be of value to you.
So I think there's an opportunity for you to make reels when it comes to when you're playing golf on the course, and when it comes to like you have a shot in front of you, what are the thoughts going through your mind about how to hit this shot? Because sometimes like you're 100 yards out, and you have the pin at a certain position, the green is a certain way.
Right.
What kind of a putt do you want? Do you want to keep it uphill? Do you want to keep it downhill? Like these are things that
So like
as a
strategy.
golfer, things
Yeah.
go through your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like this goes through your mind,
Yeah.
but as someone who's just starting out golf, like you don't know to think of these things. Like
Correct.
I only started thinking about these things when I started actually competing.
Right.
And so it's not about hitting the shot that you want to hit, it's about scoring. So
Correct.
sometimes you don't hit a driver off the tee, even though you can,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
And those are some things that people don't think about. And so I think the opportunity for reels over there could be massive.
Right.
I feel
Do
like,
more technical,
yeah,
Yeah.
get more
That's
technical.
interesting.
And I see myself doing this with tennis. Like I'll see how to hit an approach shot from the service line, or like how to defend from behind the baseline. With golf, how to get out of the bunker effectively, or how to get backspin on a ball when you're 60 yards out and you're playing a sand wedge,
Right.
and make sure that you're 2-3 feet from the pin. So there's a lot of scope for the technical aspect of the game.
and the thing is, when it comes to technicality, I wouldn't shy away from like the higher level things in the sense that like in golf, the hardest shot to hit is the straight shot, right?
Yeah.
And so like you can talk about, I wouldn't shy away from talking about things like at a particular pin position from this angle with whatever the cases may be. Instead of just going directly at it, you wanna draw it in, or you wanna fade it. You wanna do these different things. It might give you some more distance, fade a little less distance. Maybe you're playing around with that with your yardages. Like all of those things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't shy away from getting to the technical aspects, because that's one feedback we've got from people on the podcast is,
Okay.
yeah, just get technical, whatever it is. Like people like that information.
Right.
And when people are addicted to golf, right, like whether they can hit the shot or not,
Yeah.
they want to know.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
for sure.
I think they like that content.
For sure. Yeah. I think I will think about the technical aspect of it because, a lot of times what I found when I've done my research online on how people are putting instruction out there, it's very piecemeal. Sometimes it's as easy as that one thought, but it's like a lot of thoughts coming together that help you get to that one thought. But definitely, it just kind of depends who the audience is. So that makes sense. But
Always.
And drills and stuff also for sure.
Yeah.
Like I remember you had drills, you put a ball under your heel, you put a
correct.
club cover thing under it. Like I don't know how many drills, like as the sport grows,
Yeah. So
as technology
you,
grows, there are
you
these
said
things that you think about.
you said reels. How do you feel about long form content?
Oh, definitely. So I follow Bryson on YouTube.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
Did you see the kid
channel.
who recreated the same drill? There's a little
Yeah.
kid that did that. That was sick.
Yeah, the little kid is doing the same drill.
And he did
That's
it on
what is it?
ridiculous
day
that
6.
it.
He made it in.
He
wait,
took
what is it?
16 days. Bryson.
Oh, the hole in one
ev-
above the house. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
over the house.
And this kid did it in 6
Wait, a
days.
kid did that?
Yeah, in 6 days. I mean, obviously, it wasn't that as far as Bryson did it, but it was pretty cool.
Wait, you should
That's
do
so
this
sick.
challenge actually. You should just
Listen,
plant some balls in your balcony and try to hit the greens.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No way.
I would watch the shit out of that, but don't do
That would
that.
be such good content.
Maybe I'll try and do something at Harmony. This is a good idea.
How many
think
you
long
can
form
get
is good.
crazy?
Yeah.
How many you can do so much wild shit?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But long form's good only on
YouTube.
Like
Yeah.
don't do long form content on
No,
Instagram.
I'm
It
really
won't work.
just thinking about YouTube and Instagram. Have any of you like tapped into or like know anyone who's tapped into like WhatsApp as a community?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not for sports particularly, but I am part of a lot of communities between WhatsApp and Discord.
Okay.
Like that's
Discord a lot,
Yeah.
yes, but I don't know what the culture in India is like for that, to be
What
fair.
kind of community would you want to start on WhatsApp, if at all?
Like I was thinking more like since all my communication with students happens on WhatsApp, kind of having like it's like having like instead of sending emails out, you send off like a WhatsApp broadcast message of like your new video that's out or like a drill for the day or something like that. Just from an engagement
I love that
standpoint.
actually.
Yeah. Mm.
I think that'd be great. I think it'd
That'd
be
be
better than
really good.
emails anyway, especially
like
for this
spam.
generation now, because no one checks email. No one cares.
Even stuff that I'm
So,
interested in, I was like, oh wow, I have so many emails from this person. I never had a look at it. But
Yeah, spot on.
yeah, I feel like
But
yeah,
definitely
overchat
reach
out
out. Like
definitely.
if you need a sounding board for social media or personal branding,
super.
Yeah,
Do you
for
guys
sure.
have anyone who
Happy to
edits?
talk about that anytime.
both
We
of
edit
us.
it.
Oh, God bless you. I do not want to do that. I will pay someone to do that for sure.
Yeah,
Yes, I
please
would.
pay
I would
someone to do
recommend
that.
that for sure. Definitely recommend.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get it, but I think it's so different, right? Because with like golf and drills, it's not as personal. Like they just need to clean it up and show the
Yes.
most important thing.
Yeah.
With this, we need to edit the podcast and then for reels find the most valuable
Yeah.
content.
Also, here
And
it's
it takes time to trust someone to do that.
Here you're trying to, you're putting out very specific snippets, what you want to put out there. Like we've spoken for, I don't know how long this is, an hour and a half.
An hour 25.
Yeah. So definitely, that's you guys will get to it. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like even once you know, like okay, what you're looking for, and then you can send it to someone to just cut, copy, paste. But yeah.
Yeah.
If you find a good
I
editor,
will let
please
you know.
introduce us to that.
For sure. I will let you know. I just got like 2 contacts, one for like website, one for short form reels. So if I feel like they're good and I like them, I'll share the contact for sure.
Fantastic. Another thing I would try to do is like record some content before you start posting.
Oh yeah.
Because one thing
I
you want
have
to
a
be is
lot of
regular.
stuff on this device and it's just sitting
Oh, sweet.
there.
Okay.
I just don't ever get to the posting part. I'm like, today I will post. I posted a story today because I was like, I'm done. I've said so many times I'm gonna post. And I found something really funny. I just posted the story, reposted it. It's like, okay, one thing a day. We'll start slow.
That's it.
No,
That's
that's
the
great.
name of the game.
Yeah.
It's a
It's the
full-time job,
consistency.
social media. So just prepare for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have someone
just
else take care of it. I can't do it. Definitely, I don't want to do it. I just decided to like reduce my consumption, and the last time I stopped myself from doing it, I was like, I have to grow my channel, so I have to stay on Instagram. I was like, this is a lame excuse because so far like 3 months have passed and nothing's happened. But now I put myself on the spot, so we'll see.
And stay accountable to, if you want to stay accountable to us, we will create a group with you on WhatsApp and make sure that you keep showing
You
up.
can
Like,
just
if
we don't have to do that. You will know every day if I posted or not now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You'll
slide into your
see.
DMs every day saying what happened
I'm gonna
today.
text you. I did not see anything.
Yeah.
What's going on? Astha, see ball, hit ball. Let's go.
You know what? I'm gonna take that approach into this for sure. See ball, hit ball. I love it. See, you gotta practice what you preach.
Oh, but
Have you guys seen this show called Yellowstone?
I've watched the
I've heard
first 2
about it.
episodes. Yeah.
Ribov, have you? Okay, what do you think so far? First 2 episodes.
It's
Slow.
phenomenal.
Oh, okay. I found it really slow my first
It's-
episode, but
But I was gonna say it's taking time for me to get really, really engrossed. Like I think the storyline's good, but I'm taking too long to get to that stage where I'm like, oh, I want to watch an episode.
no, the thing is
Okay.
like it's quite slow. I think I watched like one episode of like 3 sittings when I was at home, and last week or last week I hopped on a flight and it was there, and I went through a season and a half through the whole flight.
Thoughts?
Wait, on a flight?
Yeah, on a flight. I watched it on a flight.
How long was this flight?
Okay, so it was 2 flights actually. two flights.
Okay.
2 flights. I went through a season and a half, and damn, it's really good. Like you guys are talking about, like they hone in on a lot of things in the current generation where you're talking about character, you're talking about values, you're talking about what the world values today. And I didn't think to get that perspective from a bloody TV show. They're also on Netflix, but also with a setting that's like in the middle of Montana on a ranch. But highly recommend. I think it's one of my favorite shows I've watched. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yellowstone River, for context, is in a place called Montana, and it's got it's arguably one of the bougiest places to go skiing in the entire country. Like it is the bougiest. It's like a private members only club kind of place
Yeah, and
that you
the
can get
story
into.
I think is based on true events or something like it, or like some history of
I might
Montana or
have
something
to
like that. I think so.
I might have to focus on that show a little bit more then.
Yeah, it's quite good.
If
I'm on
it's
season 3
actually
now,
that good.
so it's quite good. I don't usually watch a lot of TV anymore,
Okay.
but it's got me hooked.
That's good to
Yeah.
know. There's so many topics I feel like I had to ask you about that I did not bring up.
I mean,
But
if you have something right
that's
now,
for
you
Keep it for
round
round
two.
two.
you can go for it if you want something that's on your mind.
No, we will have
Keep
a
it for
round
round
two, and we will have a round two on the golf
Yeah, I was
course.
just gonna say that. We're gonna do that on the golf
Yeah.
course. Maybe we can play a round of golf and do like a walking and talking kind of episode. That'll be fun.
Yep.
I'll have some gear by then.
As long as, oh my God, yeah, that would be sick actually.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
What a turn of
Right.
events. We'll be doing content for Astha's page.
Yeah, sick.
When's the
That's-
Insta content starting in the long form? Like, when's the content starting?
Realistically, I think in the new year, I'm still finding
Okay.
someone who can edit some stuff for me. I do have some videos that I've shot, but I do need someone to edit. But until then, I will
Okay.
start engaging a lot more on Instagram, uh,
Okay.
putting stuff out there. Maybe some of my coaching, some of my own practice, and things like that.
Do you need help building a strategy or a content plan? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all ears.
So I'm on two minds of this. I'm less of a planner, Rohan's more of a planner, which is why this also kind of works well.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put that pressure because there are so many things going on in life.
Yeah.
Social media is not a priority for me. I
Yeah.
see that it's important,
Yeah.
but I don't care.
Yeah.
And so I just do it. I don't
Same
think
here.
about
That's
doing
kind of like
it.
how I
And
want to
so-
see. Like the thing is, like I know it's important, given like what kind of industry I'm in today. Also, I've thought a lot about planning and maybe what kind of content I want to put out there, and I feel like that's kind of stopped me because I'm like, who is my target audience? What do I actually want to put out there? Is it drills? Is it for newbies? Is it for advanced players? I'm just like, okay, so far this has not really gotten me anywhere. So now I'm just thinking of starting off, putting some stuff out there, and then I think slowly I'll figure out again like what is the niche or what do I want to put, what kind of information I want to put out there. Same way with this.
hit ball.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to come up. This is great. I'm gonna have to run with this tagline now. I should have come up with something better. Should come up with something better. See ball, hit ball. SBHP.
It's just so simple, but it like encompasses so much, right? Like,
Yeah.
just don't overthink, just do it.
Yeah, it's like there's this fitness coach I follow on Instagram, and he left this really
Yeah.
big academy where they used to train a bunch of like PGA and LPGA players, and he started his own thing, and his program's called Lift Heavy, Swing Fast, and I was like, damn, that's pretty catchy, like pretty simple. Lift heavy,
Yeah.
swing fast. So maybe my first program that I launched is going to be called See Ball, Hit Ball. I'm not sure how many,
I like that,
how many
actually. I
people
like that a lot.
will relate to it, but I think I ought to run with it.
That would look so good on a t-shirt actually. I would buy that much.
Okay.
C-ball. You start a
Love it.
brand.
I love
C-ball,
it.
hit ball. SBHB. Just SBHB. Get a nice way to get a nice logo for
God.
SBHB, and then
God.
just C-ball, hit ball.
Yeah,
There
it
we
sounds
go.
more fun than see target, hit target. That's like very nerdy and lame.
Yeah, exactly. Wait,
But,
Astha,
I-
when was the last time that we met? Like a decade
I don't
ago?
remember. To be honest, I don't remember.
It was Bhatia's party, Madhav's birthday.
Yeah, I
I
met.
saw you for like
That's
2
where I
minutes.
met you last. Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
That's where you met me also last.
Is it?
Actually. But I'm just not as memorable as Ribha.
Really? I don't remember that. I don't know. I
That's
don't know if you're
fine.
messing with me or you're being serious, but I honestly don't remember that.
No, for
Oh
real.
no, you were
Okay.
there. Yeah, you were there.
Okay. See, River also
On your
doesn't
way out,
remember.
we said hi.
No, I remember. Of course, I remember. Why would I not remember? Of course.
Hi. How do you think he got there, Astha?
Yeah. No, he was there.
Shots
Did- oh,
fired.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. When was
Yeah,
that?
long time.
I don't remember when that was.
Mother's
It's been a few
birthday?
years.
I don't know. I
April.
think it's like October time. Oh, yes, that checks out.
April 20th is his birthday. It's the annual Madhav Bhadia party that we went to in school.
Guys, was this
And
this?
how do you remember
Was it
this?
this year?
We met this year. Yeah.
Oh wow. See, my memory's
Oh,
pretty bad.
yeah.
I thought it was like last
Actually,
year.
I didn't remember it was this year. I thought it was last year.
I thought it was last year.
Damn, interesting.
Oh yeah, I wasn't here last year, so that makes
This-
sense. Yeah, it was this year.
That makes two of us. Exactly. But outside of that, like it's been far too long since I've met you
Yeah.
or Nishtha, which is
Yeah, Nish has been in it.
like
in
this
and
was like
out.
when Ribba was like
You
Ribba
should
was
have
like
been
so
to
excited
school
to
only.
have you, and I was like, yes, but I haven't spoken to Astha in years.
To be honest, guys, I think this is the most we've ever spoken to each other. Like
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
over all this time
Definitely.
we've known each other. But yeah, honestly, it was pretty chill. Do you always start your conversations like this, even though you don't know the person? Or does it change?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. So we try to keep it
Kind of like throw
as
them in the deep end.
casual. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about like conversation in general. Like if you want to get to know someone, I think it's impossible to not at least risk making them uncomfortable at some level. Like you're gonna dig and you're gonna miss, you're gonna hit, and it depends. And so I feel like you can't be scared about that. Like yeah, you just
No,
throw them in the deep
I
end.
really like
Just
the
keep
way
it as casual
we
as you can.
started this off. Like, I mean, it was just like we hopped on the call. I had some logistic issues, but like we just started. You asked a question, and I started talking, and we just kept going from there, which is really nice. I like that there was no like formal introduction or like, oh, this is gonna happen. I was very tempted to text you, Ribov, saying, "Can you give me like a feeler of what you're going to ask me?" Even though I asked you this like 2 times before, but yeah, I think that really helped the flow of the conversation, and I feel like people
Yeah.
don't really get an opportunity to think too hard about what to say or what not to say, and I think that's when the best stuff comes out, right? Because you're not putting up an image there, you're just saying what's on your mind
Yeah.
or like really what you believe. So I think that's really awesome how you guys are doing this. I only realized that now, obviously after the conversation, but yeah, really cool, impressive.
No,
We
thank you.
really
Glad to
appreciate
hear
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always nice when we have guests that appreciate the conversation. I think the ultimate idea is, can the guest feel comfortable and also leave telling their friends and family, oh my God, I was asked a question today that not many people have asked me, and I think that only comes when the conversation just kind of flows and
Yeah.
you just keep picking on certain things that otherwise, if I met you, I may not have asked. But
Yeah.
in this kind of a setting, the intention is such that we want to be able to ask those tougher questions.
Yeah, and I think
And that's why we want it to be as comfortable as possible. Like we want you to feel as comfortable as
yeah, and I think
you
that approach
can
really
feel,
helps,
you know.
right? When you just start off right off the bat. And like you
Yeah.
said, you'll shoot some, you'll miss some. Like that's totally fine. Like I didn't want to answer a question. I was really honest with you.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But
I mess with the kids. Fair enough.
Yeah,
it
but-
is what it is. But
but
you gotta try.
yeah, no, I think it's still important that you're able to ask that question. There's nothing wrong with asking a question. So that's really good. That was really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect. This was certainly not what I expected, and yeah, I had a great time with you guys.
In a positive way.
Yeah, in a positive
well,
way.
I
In a
guess, but
positive way.
fair
And
enough.
I'd recommend being able to capture this when you do edit your content, whatever it is, where you're really, it's obviously like, okay, we've talked for like an hour and a half, but you're not going to are you going to put all of it out or like most of it, right? You'll cut in bits and pieces.
A lot of it. So after what you like that advice question, like what would you leave the people with or some
Yeah.
whatever that thing was. The plan was to cut at that,
Yeah.
but then like these snippets, if we want to put it in, we might like let's see. I
Yeah, you'll
genuinely have
just
no
probably
idea.
have to see.
Because the thing is,
Yeah,
yeah, when you're in a conversation, you also don't really know what happened in that conversation. Like you kind of gotta rewatch it to get a sense of what happened. So
correct.
we'll find out.
Correct. But yeah, so my only I'm going to say advice now to you would be that when you are editing and putting generally stuff out there, just try and capture the
Yes.
moment, the essence of the conversation more, and emphasize on that more than exactly what was said, if that makes sense, because that's the kind of
Yes.
message that will transfer to your audience a lot more, where they're like, okay,
That's
yeah,
good
wow, that's a
advice.
pretty
Yes.
candid conversation, and maybe even push them to like, watch the whole thing or like watch more videos, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
I do want to say one thing. You said you don't feel like a very self-confident person, but through the entire conversation, even when I wasn't speaking, the only theme I was getting was that you derive a lot of your confidence from the competence that you have in the sport of golf and just the way that you've seen life.
Yeah.
And I truly respect that, because in everything you haven't lost the art of just being a very good human being, and that's not easy for many people. So
Very humble,
like
very
I think
open-minded at the same time. Like it's rare to see that for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny because part of one of my content today, I was studying a bit in the morning. We had a recap from a module on coaching in communication in coaching. So there was this, it suggested you watch two TED Talks. One was on like body language, and the other was, I don't remember what it was. I think it was just how you talk. And I'd seen this body language TED Talk before, and I was like, okay, I'm going to raise my hands before I start this conversation and raise my testosterone levels and reduce my cortisol levels. I was like, it's fine, it's just a chat. But yeah, I was nervous, like, no doubt. I was nervous. Because, like we discussed, not really one for the camera or this microphone, and it makes me uncomfortable, and that's also why like you would have noticed, yeah, let's do it next week. Okay, great. I'm just like, okay, it's fine, today's fine. I was so tempted. I was like, should I change the time? I'm not sure if I'm ready. I was like, okay, come on, don't be a little bitch, but it's fine. We made
if you
it.
changed the time at like 4:50 p.m. India time, I would have been livid.
No, I would never do
I would have
that.
been absolutely
I was like,
livid.
I've committed
I
to
was
it.
up
Now
at
we have
5:30
to.
for this.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, oh yeah, he's in Toronto. Never mind. We can't do this now. But yeah, all good.
That's the very thing you said though, is the difference between a podcast and an interview. And what you like, the feeling that you had about the potential discomfort coming in would have happened in an interview, because they just ask you a question and then you answer it, and then the next question has nothing to do with the previous question, and you're just sat across them saying, like, that's where discomfort creeps in. Here
It's
I think
more
in any
natural.
podcast, when it's more
Yeah.
natural, the conversation
At least we
flows
try
and
to keep it more natural. I
Yeah.
don't know how good of a job we do with that, but that's
You
definitely the
do.
aim, and we're getting better at that
You
slowly.
do,
Yeah.
and I feel like you're not stumbling or fumbling to ask the next question, which is pretty awesome. It just kind of like flows into the next question, which is really nice. It's not like pause, look at my sheet, what's what do I have to discuss next? Because like I've heard some podcasts like in the recent past, some people who've just started, and to me it's just like, oh, like it hasn't been that engaging for me. And do you guys have any favorites that someone or some podcast that you like?
Chris Williamson, Lex Friedman,
No idea.
Andrew Huberman, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan is awesome. He's awesome.
amazing.
I've listened to some Andrew Huberman, and then I saw this one article where he was like involved in some sexual harassment cases, and I was like, oh, fuck this guy.
Heavy.
I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I read about
We don't trust him anymore. So I haven't heard any of his podcasts
Yeah,
since
I
then.
read
But yeah, you see how like important reputation is, right? Like,
Oh, definitely.
Everything.
Reputation is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like everything.
But
And so,
yeah, I don't know what my favorites are, but I will send. I do have one or two.
Rohan has a few good recs.
Yeah.
You should hear. You'll really appreciate The Diary of a CEO.
I've seen that on
I
Spotify, but I haven't listened to it. Diary of a
I
CEO.
truly think that
Let me look it
it's
up.
arguably the best podcast in the world. Close to Chris, like Chris Williamson is a close second for me, but The Diary of a CEO he just does such a phenomenal job at the way he makes conversations flow. And that's kind of, when you're doing this, you need someone you look up to. I think that Chris and him are probably the two guys that
Awesome.
we look up.
Acquired is a good one also.
Acquired.
Acquired is, yeah, an entirely
Acquired
different
is
ball
fire.
game, but it's
Yeah.
I'm
phenomenal.
gonna check this.
They take a business, they study it for like 10 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Like they'll read every paper, article, book about it.
Yeah.
And they'll do a 3.5 hour podcast and break down the entire business.
Wow.
Microsoft, Hermes,
Oh,
Nvidia,
sick.
Starbucks, you name it.
It's brilliant. It's
That
brilliant.
sounds really interesting. I will definitely check that one out.
So you'll be. And then if you
And
like those kind of stories, listen to How I Built This with Guy Raz. He just gets founders of like different companies, and the intention is literally how did you build it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to learn like about a business. Like right now, I'm working on a business venture with my dad, and it's like a distribution of a product. And obviously, I don't come from a business background. My dad's been a businessman his whole life. But for me, stepping into this role and understanding things, like there's some things that come naturally to me, but the technical side of it, I don't have the knowledge. So I'm always looking out for like, okay, what are these, how did people get to this position? And not just like the technical stuff, but also how do you conduct yourself as a business person? What do people look out for? Because people invest in people, not just the product or just the business. So yeah, thanks for that recommendation. I will definitely check it out. Yeah.
I think another recommendation, I would highly recommend Panoramic Perspectives. It's these two guys, they co-host, and it's
I
a
did
fantastic
watch some
podcast. I
episodes.
think that's a lot
I have
of
a few
value.
pending.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have watched.
Sure.
I leave you guys with one thought. There's this one guy who I started listening to. He has a podcast called Increase Your Impact by Justin Sewer. Now, it's not like a podcast. He releases 2-3 minute episodes. He used to do it daily, not any. I don't know how frequently he does it now, but it's almost like a thought for the day, a
okay.
perspective for the
So a
day.
lot of thoughts he's having. Okay.
2 or 3
Daily.
2 or
It's
3
crazy,
minutes.
yeah.
He's a mental performance coach, and
Okay.
it's really nice how he is. Sometimes you feel like, damn, how do you know this is going on in my life? So it's really funny how you can find it to be that relatable, and other times maybe not for yourself, but someone maybe that you're working with or in a relationship with. So I feel like I derived a lot of value through that podcast through college, and another teammate of mine had actually introduced it to me. And the nice thing about it is like it's like 2 minutes, and it kind of just leaves you with a thought for the day, like something to reflect on as you go about the day, which I think you guys might enjoy. But yeah, check it out.
I can see myself
Increase your impact. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty.
Beautiful. Are you a book reader before you leave?
I used to read books. Now it's like the thing is, the more I try to read about like information, the more I go to sleep. So I feel like like if I'm reading a book, I think I'd want to read it for enjoyment, for learning. I feel like I learn a lot more. I can listen to a book. I feel like I'm in the car a lot nowadays, so I feel like if I'm listening to a book, I take in that information a lot more than just sitting down and reading something physically.
Might help with the road rage also.
Yeah, it certainly does. I have not been listening to an audiobook the last few weeks, so maybe that was it. Maybe I don't need to
It'll bring you some peace.
meditate.
Listen to this.
The almanac.
Yeah, I have it right next to me also.
How
yes.
cute, guys. I have seen this.
You should read this.
Good?
Brilliant book. Brilliant book.
Okay,
Yeah.
check it out.
It's also a very easy read.
It looks like it's bloody short.
While reading the, Yeah, it's a very easy read, but every like 3, 4 pages I would read, I would just like have to put the book down and just think about that because
That's the
it's
thing
just
about
very
books,
interesting. Yeah.
like especially when you're learning, right? Where you're just like, if I just go through this, how much are you going to derive out of it? And that's why I like the ones like audiobooks, because if I suddenly lose my thought, I can go back to it and listen to it again and just kind of
Yeah.
pause and think about it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I'll check it out. You guys have given me a lot of recommendations. You might not hear from me for weeks. Oh,
So I'm gonna be at Harmony on the 21st of December.
are you actually?
I land
might-
on 20th,
we're
and
both
now
gonna
that
come to
you're at
Harmony,
Harmony,
though.
I will
I
definitely be
might be
coming
out of
to
town.
Harmony.
We're coming.
20th, 24th, or 25th, I might be out of town. Might. Mini vacation.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh,
Well, we'll see you
okay.
this trip for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
How
I'm
long-
moving back, so I'll
Yeah.
probably see you more. But
Where are you, Rohan?
I'm in New York.
Oh, okay. So you both are out. How long are you
Yeah.
home for?
2 weeks.
No, it's a family trip, so it's not just the two of us.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Including Nishtha and her. Nishtha,
No.
is Nishtha engaged now?
she's married, isn't she?
She's married.
Nishtha's married?
She's married, yeah.
She got married
Oh my
last year.
God.
Last year. Is it?
Wow.
Yeah. 23 Jan she got married. So almost 2 years now.
Wow.
Wait, what? No, I'm doing the math wrong. Is it?
Wait, you're 2.5 years,
Two and a
aren't you?
half, right? Oh, wait.
So she was half a year after you. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying right
The
to us
math
like
isn't
we have the
mathing.
answer.
See, I got
The math is
married
mathing.
22 April. She got married 23 Jan. So almost.
Oh, okay, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is he a sweet? Is he American or is
He's
he
American.
European? Okay,
He's a sweetie.
nice.
Golfer? Oh.
Yeah, I used to play professionally.
Oh, shit.
He's pretty damn good. Like, he could kick both of our asses after not playing for like a year. He's that good.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's always a good problem to have in life.
If you're him, if you're him, it's not nice to get.
It's alright. We'll get on the course with you just so that you have someone who you can absolutely
Yeah,
destroy.
please do. Yeah. How are you guys doing? Are you guys in relationships?
Astha, personal question. What's going on?
You make some, you don't make some. It's okay.
We both were. I broke up in Feb 16th. I remember the date. He was, what, a month after me?
April. I broke up in April.
Something
4-year
like that.
relationship.
Damn.
4.5 years and 4, yeah.
Both of you?
Long
relationships?
relationship.
Damn.
Yeah.
How come?
Astha.
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer. You guys were in a relationship for like 4.5 years. In a sense, when you start off a little bit earlier as well, you're growing with that person. Sometimes you're able to grow together. Sometimes you grow in different directions. Both are fine. And you feel like if you grow in different directions, then sure, you obviously can't see yourself, with that person spending the rest of your life with. But hopefully you're able to find someone that you can grow with. But yeah, just trust your gut. Don't overthink it. Like career, you'll always figure out. I feel like there is a timeline to relationships because after a certain age, everyone gets set in their own ways and have certain things that they want to do or like to do, all of which is fine. You grow in the same way when you're in a marriage as well. Like, I have my space, my husband has his own space, and then there's things that we like to do together. And the quicker that you can learn to respect each other's space and be together, the better off you guys are going to be. But yeah, don't delay it. That's my advice. Like,
Yeah, no. That's the scary thought. Like,
Yeah.
you're 25 already. Like, it's soon.
Yeah.
Everything is soon now. Which
I would
is
say
why.
like when you're engaging with people, like
But,
now you kind of know, right? You're not just avoiding the problem. Just as long as you're not avoiding the problem, you'll be just
Yes,
fine.
no, of course. I'm not
Yeah.
avoiding it at all.
Yeah. I'm not saying
I'm
you.
fucking
I'm
looking
just
for a
generally. I'm
solution
just
that,
generally saying.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get
But
that.
also, like, what I hear from like a bunch of people today is that like girls are just after materialistic things and like this and that. I'm just like, damn, like, That's pretty bad. It's
It's
like
hard
it's like
to
a solid
it's
role
hard to find.
reversal, where yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. That's why I said society. Society will do a bunch of jack shit. You don't follow it just because they're doing it. So don't get wrapped
Yeah.
up in that because we'll catch up with you.
At least ever since COVID, maybe it's a age and part of life thing also, like what part of life I'm in now, but I've definitely seen a shift where there are less personality hires in your life. Like it's hard to find those people now. And that's sad. Like that hurts.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how many
life.
people are engaging with people in life like the two of you are, to be honest. Uh, Even from our
In what
school.
sense?
No, generally, like, I think the fact that you could have a conversation with no hang-ups, do you know what I mean? Like, no ego, no,
Yeah.
like, there's plenty of people who are very much stuck in high school era, and it's like, wow, really?
Yeah.
Or like a
That's
decade,
annoying.
been a decade, and really, or is still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, but it's fine.
Couldn't
I
So, but like
can't I
honestly,
can't get it out of my
even in
head.
terms of relationship, right? Like you're saying, I don't know what I want to do. Like for the longest time, the two of us were like, oh yeah, we need to get a career settled and then we'll get, married or do this. And then you realize very quickly that, well, sooner or later, why do we need to wait? We'll just figure it out together. And it's just better that way. Like now, like my friends, they don't want to get, either they don't want to get married or they want to get married and don't want to have kids. And I'm just like, that's because you're not in a relationship. Uh,
Yeah.
get in a relationship and then everything else will follow. Like no one just wakes up and says, I didn't wake up and say, yeah, I want to have kids. Sometimes I think I don't want to
You
have
just answered
kids.
that question.
Yeah, I want to have kids. You didn't ask me if I want to have kids. You asked me
Yeah.
when I'm having kids.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But like like for you guys, I feel like if you're not able to figure that out or you're scared, like whoever you're with, it's really important to have communication about like the most difficult things because the faster you get through that, the more clarity you have. Okay, can this person handle the conversation even? Because if they can't handle the conversation, then they're not on the same timeline as you. Um, which is also okay. And sometimes you're like, okay, let me try and get this person on the same timeline because I do like this person. I can see myself spending. But sometimes one person's not ready. You just need a push from your partner, you know. Um, I- Coming back to like long distance, like both Webber and I, majority of our relationship was long distance. We were in the same time zone, 6 hour drive apart, an hour and a half flight apart. Um, we did make an effort to see each other, but it was a two-way street for sure. It can't happen just one way, and it's a lot of hard work. Like there was a time he was in California, I was in Australia, and that time difference is a bitch. And I was there for like 2 months. And I think that was the hardest time of our relationship where we just couldn't find time to talk, uh, which is really difficult. But you just gotta keep trying. Like nothing can trump communication. Nothing. Without it, like seriously, like
Yep.
you have something on your mind, get it off your chest before you go to sleep, or you will start to assume things that are not true. Yeah.
I learned this from my parents. They always said that, like, whatever. Now they've married 30 years, but they always made it a point to never go to sleep fighting.
Yeah.
And that can only end with communication.
Yeah.
And it's just like you see that in your own home. I've seen how good that marriage has been and that relationship. That it's something as simple as just getting it off your chest
Yeah.
that will have a lasting impact on the
And I think
relationship.
what people forget is that no one's trying to intentionally hurt the other person, right? It's like you're saying something or you did something, it made me feel a certain way. You may have not intended that to happen, but this is how I feel. Doesn't discount the feeling, you know what I mean? So you have to get that. You have to get that message across.
Absolutely agreed.
Otherwise, it comes out in passive aggressive
I'm facing
ways.
that. Yeah, always.
Yeah.
No, but this has been absolutely beautiful. These are the kind of conversations that we thrive for. So thank you so much, Astha.
No, thank
This
you
has been a lot of
guys.
fun.
You guys made it happen.
No,
You showed
made it
up.
happen
I
too,
did.
Actually, you
I
made
did.
it
I did
happen.
show up. I will take credit, some credit for that. I did show up. No, but that was super. Great chatting with you guys.
That was
Yeah.
beautiful. We'll
Looking
definitely
forward to the
catch up.
content.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too. Excited
Yeah.
for
Content,
Saturday.
golf,
I know what's going up on
and
Saturday now, so that's taken care of.
let's go. We'll also do reels all week,
Cool.
so you'll have
Yeah.
like you can always just piggyback off of that and repost.
Awesome. Thanks a ton.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
beautiful.
Take care.
Thanks,
Have a good
Astha.
day.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.